Hi guys, Deja Perez back with another edition of What's Poppin' the podcast on 93.9 WKYS. So, all right, now my boy Lysious, whom you usually hear me reference at the ends of every What's Poppin', right? Or most of them. He's phenomenal behind the camera. He rarely gets in front of said camera, but earlier this year I was able to get him in front of the camera because he put together this Amazeballs book around Valentine's Day, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to let Lish first and foremost talk about the book real quick in case people don't know about it.
I feel like a lot of times if you don't know what real love looks like, it's hard for you. It's like if you know what it looks like when you see what's not real love, then you can move away from it. So I feel like writing about that, and the hope is just really like people get to understand and get to really know what love is supposed to be like, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much all that is. And I don't feel like I have all the answers. I just want to start a conversation in the right direction. So that's really what that's all about.
Okay, so I have a couple people joining us, but I want to kind of give you guys some background, right? So there is a poem in this book that they basically made a short film about, and it is aptly called The Howard Woman because, yes, we have lots of Howard's finest in the building right now. Okay, so we're gonna start with this beautiful woman to the left of Lysious. Tell everyone who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Tatyana Ke'Ausha. I worked as the assistant director. Thank you. And the choreographer on the project.
Okay, fantastic. How about you, babe?
Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna Grace. I play Maya for the Howard Woman. That's
all good. No worries. No worries. How about you, darling?
My name is Samaya Covert. I was a dancer in the film, and I said a couple of lines.
Oh, you were the dancer. Okay. It was one of y'all.
One of them, yes. So, yeah.
Nice. We'll come back to you.
Okay. How y'all doing? It's your boy Malcolm Hankerson. You can call me Zaid. You can find me on Instagram at _ Zaid too.
A plug. It's all right.
Yeah, I gotta
do what you do, boo.
But yeah, I played Rick. I was eyeing my girl Bree over here in the film, and she kind of spazzed on me in the film. But it's cool. It's cool. So yeah, get y'all a little one-on-one right there.
All right. So first things first, let's talk about. Do you guys have any acting experience, or was this something that was like out of the box, different for you?
No, I'm not new to acting at all. I'm actually an acting major at Howard. I've been acting pretty much most of my life. Right now, I'm matriculating into film, so here we are.
Yes.
But yeah, I consider myself now a semi-professional actress.
Okay. How about you?
I have
a dancer.
I danced a little bit. I was on the quad dance team. Shout out to quad dance team at Howard University. QAD. Yes. So I danced a little bit, but I was never into like acting or anything like that. But this has really like sparked my interest.
So this process, how did this all come about, Lish? Why did you decide to make this particular poem into like a short film?
Well, I mean, basically, I feel like we're in the visual age, so it's easy for you. Like, I would keep it real with you. A lot of us don't read. A lot of us millennials don't really read a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I need to do something to start a conversation, get people like to go check out the book. So that's how that came about. But also like going back to just what that poem means to me, just thinking about talking to one of my colleagues, and he was like, man, I gotta come to homecoming. He don't even go to Howard, right? So it's like, I gotta come to homecoming. I was like, yes. I was like, why you gotta come to man? Because the girls. I was like, so like, I'm kind of hurt because the only reason you want to come is because you feel like we have a lot of beautiful girls. So I felt like that was a problem. Mm-hmm. The fact that when you think of Howard women, you only think of the fact that it's pretty face and a nice body. So the second thing, one of my mentors, Dr. Carr, like at Howard, and he was talking about how Howard is almost like a melting pot of people, black people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. So
it's like the Mecca, literally, is what they call it.
You know what I mean? So just putting those two together, like for the Howard woman, came from that.
Okay.
And so it's really just reflecting on what it means to be beautiful. It's a whole conversation around the fact that beauty is not just a pretty face and a nice body, you know what I'm saying? So when you think of the Howard woman, there's so much more to her. Like, it's her mind, her personality, it's her drive. It's the fact that she comes from, the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Midwest, and she's from all over the place, you know what I mean? So it's really just that. And the whole conversation around beauty, I think that's the whole point of it, is that I wanted to really add to that conversation.
So let's start the conversation there, right? What does beauty mean to you? And prepare your answers because I'm coming for all y'all.
To me, it's a whole package. You know what I mean? Think about it. I was having a conversation with somebody on social media. I was like, it's funny how we tell little girls you're pretty from a very young age. Like from a very young age, they're conditioned to look at themselves as the only thing that I'm worth is just how I look on the outside. But we tell little boys, we tell them you're strong, you're smart, you're intelligent. We tell them things like, don't cry, you're
You're a man
stuff
up.
like that. You know what I'm saying? And these women or these little girls grow up into women that feel like all there is to them is just their body. So you put so much emphasis on that, and you feel like you move through the world being appreciated for just that alone. But if somebody had told you from a young age that you're smart, I wonder if that's going to change the way that you move through the world. You know what I'm saying? And it's a much bigger conversation because when you think about even talking about equal pay and how we look at women in our society, and it's such the society we live in, you know what I mean? It's a man's world, really, when you think about it. And so I just hope that the movie and the poem and everything adds to that conversation about just redefining what beauty is, not just from a man's perspective, but even the women themselves, because I feel like if women know there's so much more to them, you take the power back even in your relationships. We talk about things like, I always joke about not giving up the cookie too quickly. You know what I'm saying? Because if you feel like that's all you're worth as a woman, when you're in a relationship, you feel like I'm gonna starve you with sex, and it's like, why do you feel is that all there is to you? Is that the only thing you feel like a man needs from you? So it's much deeper than that. I feel like if women know this, and if men also know it, so in the poem is a lot of men just reflecting on what the Howard woman is, and so even if we're using the Howard woman is much more about the black woman and women in general, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's really that. Men need to know that, and the women need to know that themselves. I feel like if we can start that conversation, it's really going to change a lot socially, economically, and psychologically.
Okay. So what do you think your ideal of beauty is for a woman?
My ideal for beauty.
Your lashes are on fleek, by the way. I am so sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. Proceed.
Truthfully, I believe beauty is what's on the inside. Beauty is confidence, self-esteem. Like going off of what you were just saying, honestly, you can be the most beautiful person on the outside and have the nastiest attitude, and nobody wants to be around you. And that's disgusting, in my opinion, because you should always be humble. You should always just want to be kind, and that's what beauty really is. Because if you think about it, we can put on makeup, we can do all of that, but true beauty can never be covered up. Not by makeup, not by clothes, not by money, fame, Instagram, none of that.
Right. I think I'm gonna own the rights to that. It's intellectual property, all right?
And you know the saying, like, a person's true colors will always show through. That's true. We can always come into a room and, we're gonna be cute. Oh, you look nice. Don't really mean it. Yeah, that can only last for so long because it's a facade.
Right.
But your true colors will always show through. So that's why I say beauty is on the inside. And even if you get off on the wrong side in the beginning, maybe it's a bad day. That your true self will always come through.
Okay. I like that. How about you, Bob?
For me, beauty is more of an essence. Like if you had asked me this question a couple years ago, I would have said, "Oh, okay, the beautiful girl in the room, she looks good," and all that stuff. And then I think as I matriculated through adulthood in my life, I kind of transformed into this new persona, and that's one of the reasons actually why I cut my hair, because I realized when you take away the hair and the makeup, what do you have? And so if you can't tell somebody what you have to offer without your hair and your makeup, then you don't have anything really. So to me, beautiful is if I walk into the room, I don't have to have long weave and nails. I'm bald. My beauty comes from my personality. It comes from the way I talk, the way I walk, how I move you. So that's beauty to me. It's somebody's energy in their aura.
I love that. I love that. Okay, how about you, Bo?
Okay, so when I first think about beauty, I think about my mom. Like, I love my mom. She is amazing. Like, she does nonprofit work. She's very sweet. She's real, though. She's not like the fake nice where it's like, oh, hey. She's real. She'll be honest with you. So from a young age, that was my example of beauty. So I try to model myself kind of after my mom. And every time I see beautiful people, I'm like, oh, you remind me of my mom. I know that's really like sentimental, but yeah, that's my idea of beauty.
Aw. All right, sir.
So when I think of beauty, I think as far as just inner beauty. I know that a lot of people nowadays think that, you know, beauty is really on the outside, and them thinking that they're so beautiful on the outside gives them a nasty attitude. When I see that, I call them ugly, because that's not beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't think that you can look very pretty and still be rude. I don't think that you can talk about people behind their back and act a certain way in front of them. I don't think anything like that is beauty. So you can be the most beautiful person in the world, but if your attitude doesn't reflect that, you're ugly.
Gotcha.
So, not saying that anybody's, you know, just ugly or anything like, no, I mean, not. Let's get that shit.
Backpedal. Go ahead.
Nah, you ugly. Nah, I'm not saying that. But like, it's just about like, just how people hold themselves up and how they treat other people. That, I feel like that's beauty.
Okay. So my three ladies, we've got 2 seniors and a sophomore. So more so for you two. We'll get back to you. Okay. But more so for you two. What has been the evolution of you becoming the Howard woman from freshman to senior?
Definitely that Howard struggle that nobody else would know because they don't go to Howard. And I know, like, people when they hear that, like, oh, whatever, like, no, there's a difference between
I've heard about
going.
this
there is
legendary Howard struggle.
There is. And, you know, for people that go to Howard, they know exactly what I'm talking about. The Howard struggle is so different from every other university. It's so personable. And I think the things that we go through just as going to Howard, living in D.C., living in this culturally dynamic place, we have a different experience from other people. So for the Howard woman, for me personally, it's me battling the world. Like, my family is all the way in Georgia. I've had to come to Howard. I've had to come to D.C. and literally figure out how I'm going to pay for this, figure out where I'm going to live, how I'm going to pay for school, how am I going to eat. These different things that you get from living in a big city like this and going to a school like Howard makes you the Howard woman. It's because you were able to get through it. And so from going to a freshman and dealing with it to making it to your senior year, you become such a different person. It kind of builds you. And so when I think of like a Howard woman, I'm like, oh, I'm a Howard woman. This world is nothing. Like, I'm new to this. Y'all new to this? I'm true to this because Howard built me for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, Howard built me for this. Yes. All right, Boo, how about you?
I agree.
Can't even say nothing else. Right. Stamp that. Okay. So how about you're a sophomore now?
Yes.
And what was, you're originally from Maryland,
Yes.
but so were you one of those girls that was like, I'm going to Howard, like, that's what it's going to be, like, and that's just how it is?
Okay, so Howard was my number one choice. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to make it. I'm going to get there. But, you know, it's really expensive.
Hello.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I was a little bit worried about that, but, you know, I prayed about it, and I got a scholarship. So I was like, I'm there. Yeah. I love it. So now I'm doing great there. My grades are good. I got a 3.95.
Yes.
Rounds to a 4.0.
Yes. I always round up. It's fine.
Right. Always got to round up. Always have to round up. But, yeah, that was my experience.
So you're there now.
Yes.
And, you know, it's funny because when you come in as a freshman, wherever, like I went to Temple, but wherever you go, your freshman experience is like overwhelming. You're like, you know, the first semester, freshman year, everything seems insurmountable, right? And so here you are about to enter the second semester of your sophomore year, right? So what has your evolution been like from freshman to sophomore?
I've had a big evolution, and a lot of people have told me, oh, you changed, but I feel like I've changed for the better. So, for example, when I first started out, I was kind of shy. You know, I didn't really know which direction I wanted to go in. My major now is communications, but I started in psychology because I thought that's where the money was, not where my heart was. And I'm good at it, but that's not what I wanted to do. So, as I continued through my freshman year, I saw other people in the communications area, and I'm like, I need to be there. So, you know, I just found courage and faith in myself to take a chance on myself. So that has been my biggest evolution. And also, like, I feel like Howard has given me a certain confidence. And I really cannot explain it, but I just feel so confident on campus. I feel like I can do anything, join anything, you know?
Like you're capable.
Capable. Yeah, and I didn't really feel like that before, so.
Okay, here for all of that. All right, so let's talk about relationship a little bit. Is that okay? All right, so I'm assuming at some point we've all had some sort of a serious relationship, right? Let's keep it that way. Moving right along. The rest of y'all. She's like, I'm on camera. We're not going to admit to that? Is that what we're doing? No, or just like in real life? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay. All right. So what does the past relationship that didn't work out, what has that taught you moving forward for your next relationship?
I think being able to just respect one another and show each other some type of just appreciation. You know, I hold 3 core values like really hold dear to me is respect, appreciation, and accountability.
Those are good ones.
So, you know, a lot of people in the relationships, they tend to blame each other. You know, in the relationships, people tend to blame each other instead of like working towards a solution. They'll just put problems on each other a lot of times.
And it's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault. You didn't do this the way I wanted it to be done and stuff like that. When you really like a relationship, it's a lot of work, but it's not just a lot of work. It's a lot of teamwork. You know, it's not just one person has to do this and the other person has to do this. You guys have to work accordingly and harmonically, really, like just to meet, I guess, the goals of, you know, relationship goals. I guess how people say, you know what I mean? And like a lot of like people that I look up to it as far as relationship would be my brother and his wife. You know, they've been together since high school and, you know, they work together. They've been there for each other. And when one person has a problem, the other person, you know, works with that person to help solve that problem instead of just it's on you.
Right. Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. Just, you know, I got to do this or something like that. It's, I guess, so going into a new relationship, that's something I would look for.
Okay. So what your question is going to be, ma'am, little miss, I have never been in a relationship, is do you have examples of healthy relationships in your life?
I actually do. My parents, back to my mom and my dad.
Okay, good.
Yes, they are high school sweethearts. Aww. They went to H.D. Woodson in D.C. And then they went to George Washington University together. So they've been together forever. I love their relationship. Yes, they're great. So honestly, it kind of put a lot of pressure on me. I'm like, okay, where's my man?
Hello.
You know, where's my guy? Where's my high school sweetheart?
What's happening?
Right. But that didn't work out. But I do see the importance of true love, and I feel it every day because I feel like without that, I wouldn't be this person I am today, and I really like who I am.
And I'm going to tell you, so how you made this evolution from freshman to sophomore and you let people go and things like that, I firmly believe that God places people in your life when the timing is right. So when you have evolved into the woman that you were meant to be, or at least have the foundation of the woman that you're supposed to be, I think then your high school sweetheart will come around. All right. So what are you going to take from your past relationship that you will not be bringing?
Therapy.
How much time we got?
Some therapy. Okay. No. From my past relationships, definitely going into a relationship knowing yourself and knowing your own worth. I feel like if you don't have enough love for yourself, you can't possibly give it to someone else. And I think from what I've learned from my past relationships is that I'm very welcoming. I have a very welcoming spirit about me. And sometimes I'll let my cup run over and I won't have enough for me. And so moving forward, I know that I cannot give myself to anybody else until I give myself to me first. And so taking it and teaching other people and hoping other people can learn that you can't be vibrating on a high frequency and someone else isn't on the same frequency as you, because then you don't go anywhere. It's like holding on to a dead battery. And so in order for a relationship to properly function, you both have to be fully charged. You both have to be understanding of each other. You both have to come in knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and then you can progress into something healthy.
So what I learned, honestly, started with number one. I have to have God in the relationship. It has to be number one. I truthfully have learned that if God is not in my relationship, it will fail. And I will, as a couple years. Some years down the line. But I will be able to say, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So me and my partner, we have to be on the same accord. moving on to number 2, communication.
Yeah.
It speaks for itself. But we like I said, it goes back to being on one accord and consistency.
Well, let me ask you, sorry to interrupt, but let me ask you guys a question, right? Because, you know, we talk about communication, we talk about how important it is, but we live in a generation of Instagram and social media and texting and DMing. So what is communicating like these days?
Well, it is similar to what you just said, but I think the way that we can change it is when we have an issue, go directly to that person. Don't sit and wait. And that's something that I used to do. Well, let me just think about it, and then it starts to fester and grow, and then that person just looks at you and you have an attitude. They didn't even do anything. So it's
Or they're not even aware of what they
right,
did.
not aware at all. And I learned that like people cannot read your mind
Hello.
at all. So it's just mainly about being honest. If we're going to call ourselves adults, because we like to throw that around a lot.
Don't we?
I'm grown. Okay,
Hella
so
grown.
let's be grown enough to sit down and have grown people conversations, even though we may feel uncomfortable, and say, you know what? Not you pissed me off, but you actually hurt me
Right.
when you did this. Right. And it's just about being vulnerable and being open.
So I think that sometimes is the challenge, because everybody does not deserve your vulnerability. Everybody does not deserve your openness. So I think that we live in this like cookie cutter society where everyone wants to give up the cookie real fast. I mean, that's always been a thing, right?
Yeah.
But like it's hard in this, because I feel like you need to. I've never been a one night stand kind of girl, right? Like, so I have to have some sort of like, we have to know each other. Like there's got to be a connection, but I feel like that's not necessarily where the values are in this day and age. So how do you think we can start to change that concept?
Well, what I've realized with this generation, we're so sucked into social media, and I feel like it kind of took away our sense of
And brain cells.
it's just our sense of like knowledge on things. Like from my last relationship, like we would get into arguments, and instead of talking to me, we would go right to Instagram. And it would be a subtweet, a subtweet,
Right.
and it's like
Hi,
you
P, I hope you
know,
see it.
you know I'm gonna see it,
Right.
and you know I'm gonna ask you about it. So when did we as a generation stop talking to each other? It's like we don't like to talk to each other, and
Yeah,
but
we rave about communication.
but we trust strangers on social media with everything. Everything's a subtweet, a post, like this, vote, should I text her back? Yes, no. And it's like we asking all these people, but the person that we actually have the problem with. And so I don't know where the disconnect from the previous generation to ours was, to where we just stopped wanting to communicate with people. And I think if we take time to just put the phone down, and if we all learn to effectively communicate, like, hey, I have a problem, I'm going to tell you about it. It's so simple. It's a 1-2 step, but we just lost it. And so I just think our generation needs to find that back, that communication.
That's so real.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a fling. I'm looking for something that's going to last forever. So because that's my mindset, how I move changes. And when we talk about communication, because for me to even go out with you, like in my mind, you have a potential of being a spouse.
Right.
And so if I'm moving like that, I'm going to communicate. Why? Because in my head, it's like, I value you enough.
Do you feel like as a man, if you communicate that you are looking for wifey material, that scares women off?
I feel like just knowing the right time to say it. I feel like you don't say it like when I just meet you, like I
want to marry you.
No, absolutely not. That's
creepy.
yeah. Again, a lot of people,
Yeah.
get into relationships for the wrong reasons. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, why are you here? What are we doing?
I just feel like nowadays it's like people don't know themselves because a lot of people are stuck on like, I'm gonna use air quotation for this, society standards. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like everybody feels like they have to, back to the Instagram thing, like be or do how they see it on, flex for the gram or something. Or when they see things on Instagram and they see like, oh yeah, like if a girl see my man got me this on some other girl's page, she gonna question her man or test her man. Right. Exactly. And it's like everybody wants to have that perfect relationship when no relationship is gonna be perfect.
I just want to say like these guys are amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like just working on the project was very, very crazy. Like her, like she's something else. You know what I'm saying? She's the Shonda Rhimes of the show. If you ask me. You know, I'm such a creative, and I know exactly what I'm looking for, and it's hard to find something that really can connect with you on that level and really bring it to life. And she definitely did that. You know, bringing her in and a bunch of other dancers as well, and it was just amazing, just putting all of that together. And you know, and just the guys, him, and everyone else that was in it. It was really a great experience, and I just want to say this, like, one of the reasons why I had the man talk about the women is I feel like it's the responsibility of the black man to stand up for the black woman, not because she can't do it for herself, not because she can't do it for herself, but because if we as black men are not going to speak for, protect, and stand up for our women, nobody else will. Not here in America, not anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I want men to watch this. By the way, it's coming out Christmas Day, so that's when the movie premieres, like Christmas Day. So, you know, yeah, just look out for that. Christmas Day, Tuesday. All right, cool. But no, just watch it, and you know, just let us know how you feel about it, man. Like, I just want people to watch it. I want to start a conversation. I want people. Once again, you know me, like I don't feel like I have all the answers. If I can get you to start talking, start thinking about it, that's really all I want to do with this. And you know, we're very excited. It was a lot of challenges. You know, shooting like in very freezing temperatures. Like we shot in New York, shot in DC as well. Because we
How long was the filming process?
New York was a day, but I was there for like a weekend. DC was 2 days. We were supposed to do LA as well. Go out to LA and shoot for like a whole weekend as well. And so yeah, and it was that. It was a lot. To me, it's the most I've done as far as like, you know, just working a lot of people and multiple days of shooting. But it was such a rewarding experience. We had a lot of great time. And, you know what I'm saying, everything came together. And I'm very humble, really, to just have people just come and be like, you know what, I got you. We're going to make it work. And, you know what I'm saying, so I'm really excited about it, excited for everyone that put time to it. Shouts out to Ahmed, who was the cinematographer. Like, he was a DP for it, just very dope and very talented. Shouts out to everyone that worked on it. Jazzy. She's the one that actually dances in the opening scene. You know, she's amazing. She's also Michelle. She closes out. So there's a lot of different people. But I just want her to talk about what she brought to the table because she's you know what I'm saying? Because she's
Talk about yourself.
Yeah, talk about what because she did some. I feel like what she did was really amazing, and just her process of really bringing the dance team together was just awesome. I never would have, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
First, just say this man is so humble and so sweet. It's truly been a blessing, like meeting him. You want me to talk? I just worked with what he gave me. So, like, he gave me creative freedom. So, I mean, I can't. I just
So
feel
where
like
do
I
you
can't
pull
take
your
credit for that.
inspiration from to like come up with your concepts? Like, how do you get your creative juices flowing?
It was all in the text. It was all in the text. The moment I read, I was like, wow.
So does it come to you as like visions? Does it come to you as like, how did you know, you guys saw the poem, you know, you conceptualized that you were going to make this film about it, right? But you could have done anything about that. You know what I mean? Like, what was step one through all of that? How did you figure out like, okay, this is kind of the storyboard. This is kind of what I'm envisioning. How does that come to you?
I would say more so in visions. The moment I read anything, I feel like I automatically think about how does this look in the body?
Okay.
Or in the face? What is this person doing? So
you
that was
look at
the
things
main
differently.
force.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
that was the main force behind it, because I was like, hey, you know, this is dope. We're going to show everybody, you know, through the text and through the acting, but how can we show these same words through the body where if you weren't listening to the words, could you be able to tell what we were saying just by watching the dance? So that was the main drive. And
How long did it take you
to choreograph? Honestly, I have to say it really did not take long, just because I feel like God has just blessed me with the ability to choreograph. I can really choreograph in my head.
Okay.
While sitting, and I think I do my best choreography that way. And then I'll get up, and then I'm like, okay, let's try it.
Okay.
So it was just a matter of honestly going back and forth from school to my apartment to work, just sitting on the bus and thinking like, how could I do this? That's
Okay.
it. so it didn't take long.
Okay, fantastic. So what's the name of the film?
It's called For the Hired Woman. That's actually the name of the poem. Okay. So it's like, and I just want to say this, like, it's from the book. Like, you have to get the book because it's not going to make sense.
Get the book
Oh, it's everywhere. Like, you get it everywhere. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
people
Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Noble.
Everywhere books are sold. Amazon, you get everywhere. No, for real. Like, just type it in Google. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So basically what he's trying to say, because I speak Lysious, is the movie comes out on Tuesday. Amazon has Prime. So get it now, read the book, then watch the film.
Get it while the game's good.
Okay. All right, so any closing comments, thoughts about the project?
Thoughts about the project. It was cold. It was cold. It was cold.
I'm following his lead. Beautiful project. Loved it. I had a great time being in it. Yes, it's cold. Very cold. Burr.
I love the project. I appreciate the authenticity of it because you could have used any other actors, any other dancers, but the fact that you stuck true to Howard, I really respect that. Thank you.
Y'all gonna make me.
It was just a blessing. It was just a blessing. It was great to see positivity and confidence in a field. We don't have that much of that.
Okay, Lish, we're going to wrap up with you.
Listen, y'all, check out the movie, man. Comes out Tuesday, y'all. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
They're right there.
it's actually in the book.
They're right there.
I'm saying.
It's the second
Support the
one in
vision.
book.
It's the second one. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to read.
Oh, hey, can you say that one more time?
Don't be afraid to read now. All right, look. He not gonna come out with if y'all don't read the book. So y'all better read that. Jones.
Well, I thank you guys so much for joining us. Thanks, Lish. And thank you guys for joining us for another edition of What's Poppin' the Podcast on 93.9 WKYS.